watching a presentation on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Here now are your hosts, J. Morgan Harder and Grant Optican.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Griffin Pregame Show here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. I'm J. Morgan Harder alongside my partner Grant Optican as we were less than half an hour from kickoff here in Collierville in quite possibly the biggest game of both of these teams' years as the number 3 Griffins, who were 7-0 on the season, look to take on another undefeated team, 8-0 University School of Jackson, who is ranked number 2 in the Tennessee AP football poll this week. And Grant, 2 of the best schools in Tennessee square off in a divisional game with huge playoff implication. And the Griffins have had 2 weeks to think about this one, but both teams have had this game circled on their calendars for quite a while.
Yeah, the last 2 meetings between these two teams have been split. St. George's taking the more important one in the state championship, but both teams are very different. St. George's lost Omar Williams, who was the MVP of the state championship, and Lee Mayhall. And USJ lost Lee Mayhall, who was Mr. Football for Tennessee last year. But both teams have come back strong. They're both undefeated coming into this game. And 2 guys I really want to key on tonight is for USJ, quarterback Ryan Gardner, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the state, the best we are going to see this year. And also Dean Brown for St. George's, who's coming off one of the best games of his career against Tipton last week when he went 11 for 11 and only one half of work.
It's unbelievable. 2 talented quarterbacks, just like you said, Grant, in 2 of the biggest games, two of the biggest games of really their team's seasons, winning huge USJ over FACS. St. George's winning big over Tipton. But let's talk a little bit more about Ryan Gardner here. He's a tremendous baseball player for USJ. He's going to play at Memphis next year, although he has a lot of letters and a lot of offers from a lot of different schools. But as far as football goes, he's done for over 1,500 yards this season. But even with the loss of Lee Mayhall, Ryan Gardner has picked up all the slack. And last year he was incredible too. But what can we expect from him today? And what can St. George's do to try and slow him down?
You know, he's going to get his numbers tonight. He's incredibly accurate. He's completed over 60% of his passes this year. And like you said, he's thrown for over 1,500 yards. And just comparing some of the defenses we faced, when they played ECS, Ryan Gardner went for 233 yards, and that was for 21 for 13 passing. And that was against a defense that held us to 10 points. So that's just a testament to how good he can be. You know, tonight we're gonna try to stop him as best we can. I can't just definitively say that he's going to go for 200 yards, but he definitely has the capability.
19 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions on Gardner's season. He's absolutely incredible. But as far as defense goes, Graham, what will we see from the defense today to try and put a stop to his numbers?
You know, we're going to see a look that we haven't seen since the state championship last year, where we drop an offensive lineman and add another defensive back. And what we're doing is we're going to try to match up with that spread offense USJ runs with a lot more receivers, and we're going to have to really tighten up the secondary. And against such a great quarterback like Ryan Gardner, our secondary is going to have to be at its best tonight.
And that right there, Grant, that's going to take us to the GBN in-depth look of the week. Grant, this week on the GBN in-depth look, we're going to take a look at the Griffin defense in the 2 games against USJ last season. This first one, the Griffins are in that 4-man front that we were talking about earlier, and you see some confusion. Number 17, Parker Fawcett, close to your screen. USJ is going to exploit that. Ryan Gardner throws a terrific pass right there to the left side. Maybe credit that a little bit to the confusion, but also Ryan Gardner just sees receivers better with less DBs on the field. Here's another one that you see with those 4-down linemen. St. George likes to bull rush the quarterback, opening up the screen for USJ. Gardner's got a great drop back here. He's going to hit Lee Mayhall on the screen right here with a little better blocking. Maybe he gets a touchdown, but those bull rushes towards the quarterback opens up those screens. Here's the state championship game. St. George's puts 5 DBs on the field. One's not pictured. 3 linebackers are going to drop back into coverage. This is a little bit later in the game, so maybe a little more prevent defense. But nonetheless, this is what St. George's wants to do, create small windows for Gardner. As you're going to see him drop back here, he doesn't have a whole lot of windows to work with. He's going to throw a catchable ball a little bit high. It was tipped and ended up being intercepted by McCarthy Robinson. That's the play that ended up ending the game for St. George's. They took the state championship. But regardless, that's the kind of things that St. George's wants to do on defense in this game. As far as offense goes, St. George is looking for big holes. This is the first game against USJ, one of Omar Williams' first games of the season. He's going to take this one running right, and he's going to have some trouble. He's going to get. You're going to see a lineman get through to the right of your screen, end up being hit by a linebacker. There's a lineman right there getting through. Gets hit by a linebacker for a gain of about 3, maybe 4 yards. Not a big run, and he just doesn't have a lot to work with. This play here, again, offensive lineman letting defensive linemen get through there, and Omar Williams gets hit at the line, uses tremendous strength to get a few more yards, but he doesn't have a whole lot to work with. Here in the state championship game, you see the linemen make a lot bigger holes, which is what you've been seeing from St. George's this season as Chandler Loy gets huge gains. This one, Omar Williams gets a huge hole, and his speed just does the rest. Chandler Loy doesn't have that same breakaway speed that Omar Williams has, but when those holes open up, you see Chandler Loy get huge runs week in and week out. Here's a play again. Huge hole for Omar Williams, and that's what we need to see this week from this St. George's offense on the Griffin in-depth look of the week. So, Grant, looking at the GBN in-depth look from this week, what can we expect as far as those two games go? What can we expect this week, and how can those relate to today's game?
Just comparing last year's matchups, in the first game at USJ, Ryan Garner just tore us up, to be completely honest. He was able to pick apart our secondary, and we left just huge holes. And what we did in the state championship was we added another defensive back, which made the windows a lot smaller, which he can still fit him in there, but it's a lot more difficult. It's going to force some turnovers, like you saw at the end of that video, McCarthy Robinson icing it with that interception. But we're going to do the same thing tonight, and he knows what's coming. Last year at the state championship, it was a different look that he hadn't seen from us. But he knows what's coming tonight. And really the main difference between last year and this year is really personnel. Last year we had Drew Bishop was probably our best defensive back, and he's off playing at Memphis now. And William Brown, who was a safety for us last year, he got hurt in the offseason, and he's unable to play defense. This is his first week back. He'll be playing a little offense tonight. But that's really just the main differences between last year and this year.
And you said it. You're absolutely right, Grant. If the Gryphons are going to keep Gardner under control tonight, they need to force him to throw tough balls into tight windows and really in a lot of coverage, because that's really what's going to be the difference in this game. As far as the Gryphons' offense goes, it's hard to say with any certainty that Chandler Loy will be stopped by this USJ defense, because really no defense has been able to stop him all season.
Yeah, our offensive line has done a great job, and I know Chandler has done a whole lot of the work, but he can tell you himself that he gives a lot of credit to his offensive line that's opened up big holes and made his job a little easier. But, Chandler's done great all year, but Dean Brown really came up big last week, and he's built some momentum. It was 2 weeks ago, but he's kept that momentum over the break, and we're looking for him to have a good game tonight.
It's no question these are two of the best teams in the region, probably really the two best teams in the region, and perhaps even the two best teams in the state as far as this division goes. I think we can all agree we're looking forward to a great game tonight, a close game with two teams that are so evenly matched, and with a game with huge playoff implications, both teams really want to win this one. Looking at some stats comparing these two schools, they're really not that different at all. St. George's averaging 33 points per game, USJ averaging 36 points per game. USJ averaging about 300 yards a game, St. George's averaging about 365 yards a game. But where USJ has an all-state quarterback in Ryan Gardner, St. George's struggles a little bit against that pass defense. And they've given up 147 of their 216 yards per game against the pass. But then St. George's has a top 10 running back in the area in Chandler Loy, and that's where USJ struggles on defense, giving up 120 yards per game from the run. And Grant, that'll lead us into the players to watch for this week.
Yeah, as always, Chandler Loy's made our players to watch, and he's got to start off hot tonight and be consistent throughout the night to really just keep the play calls varied, because if we stray away from our running game, there's no way Dean's going to be able to be successful. And we know Chandler's going to do well. The offensive line has done well all year, and like you said, USJ struggled this year against the run. So expect, once again, the run game to be a focal point of the offense. But as USJ goes on offense, Ryan Gardner is, like we said, a great quarterback. Our secondary, 2 weeks ago against Harding, struggled a little bit over the middle, which is where Ryan Gardner really likes to put the ball. But traditionally against USJ, St. George has done a great job clogging up the middle and forcing receivers out wide. But unfortunately for us, Ryan Gardner has the ability to drop the ball into some tight windows, and what we got to do is make it as difficult as possible, put pressure on him. We know he's going to get his numbers, but we got to keep him as low as possible.
We're adding a fifth DB tonight too, Grant, as we've said the whole broadcast, and that'll lead us into your last impact players, I really should say, for this case in tonight's game, and this is the Griffin DBs.
Yeah, all the DBs tonight. There's a fifth, like you said, and USJ doesn't run the ball a whole lot. They do have some talent in the backfield, but Ryan Gardner is the focal point of their offense, and when as he goes, USJ goes, and it's really going to be up to the secondary tonight to really seal up our defense and pull off a win.
You're absolutely right, Grant. All great points. One thing I want to add to the end of this right now, the running back for the leading rusher for USJ this season is number 39, Spencer. He's a senior for them, and he has been a great back all year. St. George's all season, that front seven has done a really good job of defending the run game, but with one less defensive lineman, it's important to note that that might be one thing.
And for those of you at home that do not really know who he is, he didn't play last year. He tore his ACL before the season even started, so we didn't face him. But he is a talented back. He runs for about seven yards a carry, which, I mean, they don't run the ball a whole lot, so he doesn't have a whole lot of total yards. But he's scored 10 touchdowns this year. And, we can't just sit on pass defense because he'll be able to bust off one.
USJ gets in the goal line. Watch out for him tonight. That's it for your Griffin pregame show tonight. We'll be back in just a few minutes with kickoff coverage here in Collierville, Tennessee. For Grant Optigan, I'm Jay Morgan Harder. Thanks for watching the Griffin pregame show here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Stay with us. It's Friday night under the lights, which means it's time for high school football. Tonight, we're here live in Collierville, Tennessee to watch two unbeaten teams square off. The Gryphons have had this game circled for quite a while and have an extra week to mull coming off a bye. USJ spent last week demoralizing FACS, winning 49-0. Both of these teams have had star-caliber players. For the St. George's, Chandler Loy has been almost unstoppable this season, having his way with defenses, averaging over 100 yards per game and about 9 yards per carry. Will that be enough to deliver the Gryphons their 13th straight win, or will the Bruins from the University School of Jackson rally behind their star quarterback Ryan Gardner in order to avenge a state championship loss last season? These teams are extremely evenly matched, and where one excels, the other struggles. This is the game of the year for both teams with huge playoff implication. It's a top 5 matchup between the number 3 Gryphons and the number 2 Bruins from USJ. Next, here on the Gryphon Broadcasting Network.
Whatever the dollar you murder for, is that the one fighting for your soul? Whatever the dollar you murder for, is that the one fighting for your soul? Or your brother's the one that you're running from, but if you got money, forget, 'cause I want some. B.I.G. Oh God. Whoa. Okay. Click, 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 click. Click, 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 click. As I look around, they don't do it like my click, 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 click. Oh God.
Pass. He's going back to Brown. Brown's open in the end zone. Touchdown, Gryphons! Touchdown, Gryphons!
Human beings in a mob. What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer who don't believe in anything? Will he make it out alive? Alright, alright. No church in a while.
Tears on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Coliseum doors.
Arden gonna get in the backfield. Here comes Dylan Young. Almost gets the sack. He breaks it though. Pass it up. It's gonna be intercepted by Chandler Loy. Intercepted down the sideline. There he goes. He's inside the 40. Gets almost to the 50. He's at the 50. Inside the 50. That's gonna be where the Gryphons take it.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it. Do it better than anybody you ever seen do it. Screams from the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours. Stop tripping, I'm tripping off the power. The system broken, the school's closed, the prison's open. We ain't got nothing to lose, everybody we rollin'. Everybody we rollin'. With some light-skinned girls and some Kelly Rollins. In this white man world, we the ones chosen. So good night, cool world, I see you in the morning. I see you in the morning. This is way too much. never let you down, I'ma shine on sight. Keep your mind on the grind and off of mine's alright, right? Hard, I'ma ball on them squares. I float in $250,000 cars everywhere I go. I know in the lead it may seem me might be, but no matter what they doing, they don't do it like me. Like a G, I hold it down for the town I'm at. In a flash like that, recognize I'm back. I'm back.
You're watching a presentation on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Here now are your hosts, J. Morgan Harder and Grant Optican.
Welcome tonight to Ferguson Field at the McNeil-Stokes Athletic Complex here in Collierville, Tennessee, as we have a 2-3 matchup between the USJ Bruins and the St. George's Gryphons in the biggest game of the year for both of these teams. Two teams come in unbeaten, but only one will leave unbeaten. Thanks for joining us here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. I'm J. Morgan Harder, alongside my partner Grant Optican. And Grant, last week the Gryphons had the week off, and while I'm sure they enjoyed the break, I know they're glad to be back on the field this week.
Yeah, you're right, J. Morgan. These guys really enjoyed their week off, but they've been excited this game for the entire season, and these two teams have become pretty good rivals over the last couple years, so it's going to be an exciting one tonight. Third meeting in the last 2 years between the two squads last season. They split the ones last year, the Gryphons winning the most prominent of those two games being the state championship. But two big players for both teams tonight, Chandler Loy for St. George's, and we'll see Ryan Gardner for USJ. As the coin toss is here now.
Bruins won the toss and will receive.
And we'll see the Bruins win the toss. They will receive to start the game. Captains for St. George's tonight, number 70, Shea Adelaide, number 25, Chandler Loy, number 17, Parker Fawcett, and number 10, Matt Thompson. The Gryphons are just ready to come out of the tunnel here. And Grant, while we got a second, let's highlight these two teams so far this season. I mentioned them a second ago. The USJ Bruins come into this game 8-0 on the season behind tremendous play from their quarterback, Ryan Gardner.
Yeah, Ryan's been great all year. He's thrown for over 1,500 yards and has completed over 60% of his passes. And, you know, they're a primary pass team, and he really runs the offense in every aspect of the game. And they're coming in undefeated and a really strong team.
You're absolutely right, Grant. As the smoke comes here, here come the Gryphons here tonight, ready to take the field in absolutely the biggest game of the year. And USJ takes the field as well, and these two teams are hyped up for tonight's game. As special teams coach Daniel Holmes calls the kick team onto the field, and we're just about to get set for football in Collierville. Grant, going back to highlighting these two teams, St. George's led by their running back, Chandler Loy.
Yeah, Chandler, you know, we talk about him every week. He averages over 100 yards a game. And, you know, he's going to, for us to win tonight, he's going to have to start off hot and keep it up because this USJ team struggles against the run. And, you know, we're going to try to pound it all night.
You're absolutely right, Grant. And we see these two special teams coaches talking to their teams right now. And this is an exciting one, Grant. You know, these players are excited, we're excited, the fans are excited, and this is a huge game with playoff implications as Henry Cowan comes onto the field, just about set to tee this one up. Henry Cowan walks onto the field. Three back deep for USJ to start this game. Two back deep to receive for USJ. Number 39, Power Spencer, and number 19, Austin Orr, who was a big part of last year's team and will be an even bigger part with the loss of Lee May Hall here this year. Cowan onto the field, ready to kick this one away. It's time for football here in Collierville, Tennessee. This one is received deep inside the 5-yard line. USJ takes it out, gets inside the 25. I believe that was Orr on the return. He's going to get just behind the 30-yard line as this defense comes out onto the field for St. George's tonight, Grant. We see a little bit of a different look from them tonight.
Yeah, they're going to be dropping one of their linemen back tonight and adding another DB to match up with this spread that USJ runs. And, St. George's has kind of struggled against the pass so far this year, and they're trying to tighten up that secondary. And against a good quarterback like Ryan Gardner, they're going to have to be near perfect tonight.
Ryan Gardner, number 12 for USJ. You see him in the shotgun there. He's got an incredible arm. Going to play baseball at Memphis next year. It's a pass out there to the right. Completed in the flat. Completed to number 39, Powers Spencer. Ended up being tackled by number 3, Dylan Young. And you see him, he has got a little bit of a limp right there. You see him on your screen bringing up this second down. That would really hurt as, 3 down linemen already. This front seven's been unbelievable all season. It's a lot of pressure on him, though, when you take one of them away. 4 down here. Darius Brooks in there and Davis Lenore in there at tackles. Dylan Young gets in the backfield. A tremendous tackle on Ryan Gardner. Gardner trying to get out of there. It looked like a design draw play, and he gets about 1 yard. He gets 1 yard, if anything, but it's going to be 3rd and 5 here.
Yeah, there's no doubt when St. George's comes out in their base defense, they're ready to stop the run. Our front seven's been great all year.
10:53 left to go. New additions tonight, Grant. We got play clocks out on the field. Helps the officials out quite a bit, not having to keep track of it themselves. It really helps the players out a lot, too. Gardner here in the shotgun. He's going to look left. Oh, had a wide open receiver, Eric Arnold, out there. He dropped it, and that would have been open. Probably still would have been short of the first down, but really just a good pass by Gardner, but number 30 was just not able to come up with it.
Yeah, Gardner found his man open. They were running that play over and over again in pregame warm-ups. The
little curl routes.
4 button hooks. And, the receiver just didn't hold it in there. Ryan made a good read.
Number 10, Matt Thompson, back to receive this one as a big stop to open up the game by St. George's. But really, shouldn't be any question about that. The way the defense has played all year is Thompson's going to call a fair catch here. The Griffins are going to get it just inside the 40-yard line. We're going to look at the Griffin offense here tonight. Dean Brown, quarterback for St. George's, had a great week last week, 11 for 11 in that game.
That was arguably Dean's greatest game of his entire career, starting at quarterback for St. George's. And, we talked about it before the game, how Dean really needed to have a game where he can build his confidence coming into this game, the biggest game of the year, and hopefully that rubs off on him tonight.
Hopefully, you're right, Grant. That confidence will move into this game as Chandler Loy will get a lot of carries as well. This is going to be, first off, a screen pass out to Matt Thompson. Good block right there by number 16, McCarthy Robinson. Another pretty good block by Austin Grisham, but Thompson's not really going anywhere. Gets a gain of about 1 on the screen pass. Tackle by Spencer. We talked about him a little bit before the game. He's a good little back for USJ, but we'll talk about him a little more when USJ gets back on offense. Chandler Loy offset to the left of Dean Brown. 3 out wide for St. George's. This one's going to go to Loy. He's going to try and go right up the gut. Fights for a few more yards. Gets about 3. Tremendous strength right there by Chandler Loy. Hit right about the line of scrimmage, but able to keep his legs moving for a gain of 3.
Yeah, Chandler on the year's averaged about 8 yards a carry. Right there, picking up about 5. And, he's going to have to carry the ball above his average tonight if St. George wants to have a shot.
I think USJ is going to get a sideline warning here. Yeah, that's what it is. And it looks like St. George is going to line up here with 2 backs behind Brown. We have not seen this formation yet this season. It's Thompson and Loy back there. Maybe trying to throw a little something new as they're in the shotgun. Thompson's going to go in motion to the left. And Going to throw it out there in the flat. Not a lot of blocking in front of him, but he's able to break one, get a first down inside the 50-yard line. Great first down by Matt Thompson. Good pickup when it looked like he was going to be stopped for a gain of 0.
46-yard line. Wrapped up by number 59, Austin Campbell.
So once again, St. George's starts off the game passing with those short passes, trying to just get Dean into a rhythm.
Absolutely. Grant, and Brown's going to drop back again. This is going to be a pitch to Lloyd to the right side. Great pressure right there by USJ front getting back there. Looks like a block in the back. Maybe could have been called, but Lloyd does a great job of breaking tackles and being a little more elusive than usual. Gets inside the 40-yard line, gain of about 8.
Hey, you just talked about Chandler's mainly just a power back, but he does have athletic ability where he can break tackles and be a little shifty out there in open field.
Officially a gain of 9. Great run right there by Chandler Lloyd, breaking a tackle in the backfield. Lloyd's going to get the ball again, go right up the gut. He's going to get that first down. Tripped up in the backfield. Maybe a little bit of late pushing and shoving right there by Bailey Popek, and defensive member for USJ. It looks like number 57, Graham Taylor. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was correct. And they go back to this formation again here. 1st and 10 for St. George's. That 2 running backs in the backfield. Brown's going to ended up being tackled right there on the keeper. And they're not going anywhere. 2nd and 10 now. You see Henry Cowan out on the field to the left. Parker Fawcett not on the field, generally one of the starting receivers for this team, though. Maybe trying to save some legs on the defensive side of the ball. Deep pass to Henry Cowan downfield. Had him open, overthrew him just a little bit. Good pressure right there in the backfield by USJ. Forced a tough throw for Dean Brown, but he still almost completed it.
So Dean's first incomplete pass in the last 3 weeks, and I think adrenaline had a little bit to do with that. Jay Morgan got a little excited when he saw Henry that wide open.
And, he's got a lot of pressure in the backfield, threw what looked like off his back foot, and it's impressive that he still almost completed it. Ooh, it looked like that's going to be a false start. Austin Grisham got a little antsy down there on the left side. That's going to cost the Gryphons, moving him back 5. It's going to be 3rd and 15 now. And on the 35, it was a little bit of a stretch to see the kick team come out on the field. Now it's near impossible. So Gryphons just need to, I'd say, get about 7 yards, get in Henry Cowan's range definitively. Over the middle's got Thompson. Great catch by Thompson. Great throw by Brown. Inside the 10, brought down at the 6-yard line. A tremendous gain right there by St. George's, and only seeing Chandler Lloyd run the ball twice so far in this game, Grant. Dean Brown has been the offensive player so far.
Dean makes a great pass there to Matt, hitting him in stride. And Matt, he's a short guy, but he was able to reel that in. It was a little high.
1st and goal for St. George's. 4 out wide again in the shotgun. This one's going to go to Lloyd right up the guts. Got some space. Hit at the line, though. Gain of about 2 yards. As he really did not have any room to run right there. Good push by the USJ defensive front.
3-yard pickup. 2nd and goal, St. George's.
You see St. George's out there again. Same formation. We'll see what they go to. Looks like USJ's bunching it a little bit. It's going to go to Lloyd again up the gut. He's going to get in there. Touchdown, Gryphons. Excellent run by Chandler Lloyd. Got tripped up at the line, but was able to push through for a touchdown. Great running there by the senior back. His 11th touchdown of the year. And Henry Cowan's out there to try the point after.
Chandler Lloyd caps off that drive with the touchdown, but credit that drive to Dean Brown. Throwing just good passes that entire drive, that one to Matt Thompson for a big chunk of yards.
You're right, Grant. Excellent passing by Dean Brown. Henry Cowan for the point after. It's good. Gryphons take an early 7-0 lead in this one. We're going to take a short break with 6:59 left to go in the first quarter. Gryphons are up 7-0. You're watching Griffin football on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Welcome back here to Griffin Football on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. We got a correction there. Henry Cowan missed the point after, so it'll be 6-0 Griffins. That's Henry Cowan's first point after miss all season. He's rated the second best kicker in the Shelby metro area by the Commercial Appeal, only behind the kicker for Briarcrest, as Cowan's out to kick this one off. It's going to go deep. Taken inside the 5-yard line. Griffin's got good coverage, though. But USJ's still going to get it inside the 25-yard line to about the 27.
Tackle number 30, Spencer Glass.
Good tackle by the freshman right there. That's Spencer Glass. And USJ is going to take over here, 1st and 10, looking for a little more production than they got on that last drive.
And Jay Morgan on that return was Power Spencer, their leading rusher so far this year. He didn't play all of last year. He was out with a torn ACL. But he is a talented back, and he can definitely break off big ones.
Gardner looked like he was making some changes at the line. Had a great pass right there under a lot of pressure. A little bit short, though. Intended for number 19, Austin Orr. A tremendous receiver for this USJ team. And credit St. George's up front right there for getting some great pressure in the backfield on Garner.
So St. George has been straying away from what we had expected, Jim Morgan, remaining in their base defense.
Going 4 down. Early they were going a little bit more to 3 down, but they kind of got rid of that. They got rid of that just as quickly as it begun, as the pass completed right there from Garner to Orr for a 1st down, and a good little curl route right there by him for the 1st down. And you said it earlier, Grant. That's really all they were running in warm-ups.
Yeah, we saw him throwing some fades early on in warm-ups, but with the first-team offense, it was mainly just that curl play.
Garner's going to drop back here, looking right into coverage. Ooh, good defense right there by Matt Thompson. He kind of got tripped up. Maybe interference could have been called, but that ball was uncatchable. Sailing out of bounds, intended for Cody Kilburn, the wide receiver out there to the right, number 17.
And number 34, Austin Grisham.
So that's going to bring up 2nd and 10 now for USJ. Still see those 2 big defensive tackles onto the field for St. George's, Darius Brooks and Davis Lenore. When you see Darius Brooks come off the field, that's generally when they'll add that extra DB. That one looked like Adam Glassman trying to go up the gut there, as he was not able to go anywhere. Good defensive push right there by the front 7. As we've talked about all year, Grant, Blake Caruth coming up with the tackle.
Yeah, Blake is kind of an unsung hero of those front 7. He's done a great job this season containing the quarterback. And, he doesn't have a lot of the big sack numbers like Dylan or Shea when he was healthy, but he's definitely a valuable member of our team.
They went that 5 DBs in the nickel there. Good defense by St. George's. A little bit of confusion between Garner's receivers, as there was no receiver in the area right there. Good defense by St. George's. In that 3rd and 9 play, they went to that extra DB on the field. It's really more of a 3 safety look, as they bring Henry Cowan onto the field as the extra DB, and that's going to be 4th and 9 now for USJ. Their offense really isn't doing anything thus far in this game. Look for that to pick up a little bit later, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so defensively, St. George's, they have not played as much of that 5 deep defense like we were expecting, but they have mixed it in. And I think what Coach Todd and the defensive coaches are trying to do is just throw as many different looks at Ryan Gardner as possible. They don't want to stay with one too long, because they know if he settles down, he's going to be able to hurt us.
You're right, Grant. As Matt Thompson's going to call the fair catch on that one. Griffins are going to take it at about their own 26-yard line. That's going to be 1st and 10. Looking to have the same positive outcome that they did on their last drive. Dean Brown looked good. 4 out wide for St. George's here. As USJ's bringing 6 on this play. Good little elusiveness by Dean Brown. He's going to get out for close to a first down. Excuse me. He went out of bounds. They ruled him out of bounds a lot shorter than I thought he was. And that's going to only be a gain of 6. So 2nd and 4 now for St. George's. It looked like he got a few more yards on that one, Grant, but they said he stepped out earlier. Brown's going to get this one off to Chandler Loy as he is hit hard by those linebacker and the DB for USJ. Number 14, Adam Glassman on that tackle, and that's going to be a first down for St. George's nonetheless. You see USJ kind of bunching it up right there, trying to stop Chandler Loy, and that's opening up some passes for Dean Brown, but he completed early, and USJ seems to be respecting it a little bit more right now. Brown dropping backs, got McCarthy Robinson, overthrew him just a little bit. And that's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for St. George's, 4:54 left to play.
Interesting that they run that seam route. Dean was hitting that, looked like during warm-ups that was his favorite route to throw. He rarely misses that one.
4 out wide again for St. George's. Trying to get USJ to jump there. And they're going to signal a play in on this 2nd and 10. It's going to go to Loy hitting the backfield there. Great push by USJ, and there's nowhere Chandler Loy could go.
By Glassman, Sanderson, and number 68.
It's kind of surprising. Go ahead, Grant.
USJ's been trying to combat this St. George's run game with a couple of blitz packages out of their linebackers. I think they're comfortable man-to-man defense against our receivers.
3 down for USJ now. They're going to go trying to fin Dean Brown here, but it might be coming. Now you only see 3 coming here as Dean Brown's just going to throw a little dump off to Thompson. Good juke right there, but he's got a lot of space to work. Excuse me, not a lot of space to work as he is tackled for 3 yards. Bring up 4th and 10 now. Grant, interesting play call there, just kind of going to the dump off on that 3rd and long.
Yeah, it was an athletic catch by Matt, but he didn't have much space to work with. It was a large order with that 3rd and about 12.
Number 6, Henry Cowan.
Ooh, low snap right there. Henry Cowan able to scoop it up and kick it away. Punt's going to get inside the 30, down closer to the 25. Let's call it the 24-yard line. That's where USJ is going to take over. And Grant, I was about to say it earlier there. On that 2nd down play, Chandler Loy was hit in the backfield for a loss. That almost takes you by surprise. You just do not see that too much. We haven't seen that really at all this season.
Yeah, our offensive line's played great all year, and it's really just uncommon of having guys in the backfield before even a running play develops. And, USJ sent 3 guys there, and they were able to get to Chandler before he even got the ball.
Garner's going to roll out to his left this time, looking for a receiver. Good pressure by St. George's as Darius Brooks is going to get back there. I think it was intercepted. Oh, they're going to call it incomplete. They say he trapped it. Oh, I thought he intercepted that one, but the official had a great look at it. We were shielded by Parker Falls. It's back. But great pressure right there by the defensive front for St. George's. Darius Brooks laying a huge hit on Gardner, forcing a bad pass.
2nd and 10 at the Bruins 24.
See number 72, Jacob still on the field for number 66, Davis Lenore, starting defensive tackle. And St. George is going to blitz there, overthrown by Garner. And right now, early in this game, the pressure is really getting to Garner. He hadn't really hit anybody he's wanted to.
Yeah, he took a lick right there on that last play, and the linebackers again done a great job causing havoc in the backfield. All season, that's really been the strength of our defense, or at least in the pass defense, is making it difficult for opposing quarterbacks and making it hard for them to make all their reads.
USJ comes out again. Looks like they got 4 receivers out. Running back lined up to the left. Good pressure by St. George's. Blake Caruth gets free, but it's a screen pass out there. Good blocking by USJ. They're going to get out there for a first down. 14, Adam Glassman, and Darius Brooks looks to be on the ground right there, but I think he's getting up under his own power. He'll be all right. As number 66, Davis Lenore, comes back on the field, Grant. And we talked about it in the pregame show. That first game against USJ last year, when they started bringing a lot of pressure like that, USJ exploited it with that screen pass, and it really ended up hurting us.
Yeah, Lee Mayhall did really well in the screen game last year, and St. George's did not contain Lee very well at all. And they've done a good job so far, with the exception of that last play.
Need to recognize it maybe just a little bit better, although I'm sure that'll improve as the game goes on. As the overthrow right there by Gardner, intended for number 29, Hayden Patey. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10 with 2:38 left to go. Gryphons lead 6-0 in the first quarter. 3 down for St. George's. Davis Lenore comes off the field this time. Darius Brooks is going to stay on. Early, it was Darius Brooks coming off. See Austin Grisham and Matt Thompson, McCarthy Robinson out there at safety, but that's a wide open curl route for USJ. Completed number 30, Eric Arnold. Tackle by Alec Feinstone for the first down, but that was a wide open receiver in the slot there for USJ.
Yeah, they run that curl almost like a screenplay, where the wide out is going to block pretty much. That's how this play is going to develop. But they run that about 5 or 6 yard curl and set up a good block for the outside.
Right there, paid off with the first down. Gardner's out with 5 out wide this time. Gryphons are still bringing 4. Ooh. Looked like it was going to be completed to number 19, Austin Orr. Parker Fawcett able to break it up right there, though, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 10. Good defense by Fawcett. Tough catch, though. Tough catch attempt, I should say, by Austin Orr. It would have been miraculous if he brought that one down. 2nd and 10 coming up for USJ. 5 out wide again. You still see those 4 defensive linemen for St. George's. Davis Lenore got a hand up there. Got close to swatting it down, but that ball is going to go out of bounds, incomplete. And downfield, Gardner is just not hitting his receivers like he did last season in that regular season game against St. George's.
Their timing seems to be a little off. I think Gardner was going to play that to Orr that entire way. I think he was planning on making that puck fake and throwing the fade, but Orr didn't make his break early enough, and he just wasn't there to make the catch.
Gardner dropping back here. He's going to scramble. No, he gets it off. Complete over the middle. Good tackle right there by Austin Grisham, though. That one's completed. Number 41, Holland Spencer, for a first down for USJ. And good job by Gardner there, buying himself some time.
20-yard pass completion advances the ball down to the Griffin 28-yard line. 1st and 10, USJ.
As you see on the bottom of your screen there, Gardner's numbers off the completion right there. Just 5 for 14 right now with 66 yards, but a good completion there nonetheless. So it's going to be a rush up the gut. That's Glassman. Goes for about 5, maybe 6 yards. We'll see where the official spot is. Looks a little generous there. They're going to give it 9, but looked like he was brought down earlier than that. 2nd and 1 now for USJ. Off the run by Glassman. 58 seconds left to go until the end of 1. Gryphons trying to hang on to this 6-0 lead as USJ makes their first trip to the red zone in this game, picking up a first down right there. Bring up 1st and 10. 2 good runs up the gut right there for St. George's. And on offense right now, Grant, Chandler Loy's having some trouble getting it going. And on defense, St. George's giving up two good runs up the gut. Both things are a little uncharacteristic for this team.
You know, on the passes Gardner has completed, they've been tight coverage, and he's just been fitting in a small window. But overall, the Gryphon defense, you know, they're stopping the run well. They just have been victims of a solid quarterback.
High pass right there by Gardner. Orr was able to come down with it. Broke a tackle from Parker Fawcett for that first one. Ended up being brought down in the secondary. As the clock's going to wind down to 0, and Gryphons are going to hang on to the 6-0 lead to end one. But the Bruins are knocking on the door. 2nd and 4 when we come back. And at the end of one, Gryphons lead this one 6-0. We'll be right back. You're watching Gryphon football here on the Gryphon Broadcast. Welcome back here to the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. I'm Jay Morgan Harder, alongside my partner Grant Opskin. We're about to start the second here in Collierville. Gryphons lead this one 6-0 over the Bruins, but the Bruins are knocking on the door on the 7-yard line. It's 2nd and 4 here. They're in a bunch package here. Garner rolling out to the right, looking for a receiver. He might try and scramble it, though. Brooks gets in the backfield, makes a good hit on him. Overthrown by Gardner, and when you see that defensive line get in the backfield, Gardner's feeling the heat, and he hadn't really completed any passes back there when pressure's on him.
Yeah, he hadn't been very successful when he's been on the run. And, you know, the Gryphon defense, really their signature play is creating pressure, and as long as we can keep that up, Gardner's going to have a tough night.
3rd and 4 here. Bruins knocking on the door. St. George's would love a stop. Gardner rolling out to the right, looks back, got a man left, incomplete short. That's going to be incomplete short. And that's going to bring up 4th down, coming up with a field goal here, 4th and 4. Fourth and 4 now. USJ out to kick a field goal. That one's going to be good, and Gryphons are going to keep their lead 6-3. And, you know, they're guaranteed, Grant, they're excited to come out without just giving up 3 points.
Yeah, USJ is putting together a little momentum there, and, you know, you hate to give up points, but that's a little bit of a moral victory right there.
St. George's comes onto the field, set to receive in just a minute. We're going to take a short break. You're watching Gryphon football here on the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. Welcome back here to the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Gryphons lead 6-3 off the USJ field goal. Gryphons held them to right there. I'm Jay Morgan Harder alongside my partner Grant Optican. Clay Crenshaw is going to take this one from about the 10-yard line, gets out there, tackled it just short of the 25, brought down about the 24-yard line. So St. George is going to take over on somewhat of a disappointing drive, their last one, as they ended up on the third down play. They were third and long and couldn't really get anything going.
We haven't really established the run game yet, and if we can't do that tonight, Jim Morgan, it's gonna be a tough game.
Looks like we're trying to spread them out a little bit first, but Chandler Lloyd, really, you're right, has not been able to get anything going. He's going to be taken by Thompson, though. He's going to get out there for a good little gain, maybe 3 yards. And St. George's, these short little gains end up paying off in the long run. Short third down plays generally lead to success. This is going to go to Loy up the gut again, and he's going to get about 2, maybe 3 yards. And just reiterated again, Grant, these short little gains end up paying off late in drives.
Yeah, they talk about when we were running the wishbone, the goal was only to pick up 3 yards every carry. If you can pick up 3 yards every carry, you're in position to pick up first downs.
Four out wide for St. George's here. Lloyd lined up to the left. So they're trying to get USJ to jump there. You see, as St. George is trying to get a play in from the sidelines, USJ was about to bring a lot of pressure right there, maybe try and bump the Griffin receivers at the line. And off the timeout by St. George's, we're going to take a short break. Again, you're watching Griffin football on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Welcome back here to the Griffin Broadcasting Network. After the timeout by St. George's, Griffins lead this one 6-3, 10:25 left to go here in the second quarter. Third down and 3 yards off the 2 good runs. First one by Matt Thompson, second one by Chandler Loy. Griffins looking for a first down play here. As USJ looks to, they might be bringing some pressure. They are bringing 7 guys. Dean Brown's a little loose, but the flags are flying. I think there's a holding call. Dean Brown gets the first down, but I got a feeling this one's going to be coming back.
It's going to set up another tough third down play. It's going to be about 3rd and 9. St. George is shooting himself in the foot again, creating these long third downs, and it's going to be tough.
We'll see where they put him back to. It's going to be... That's going to be a costly penalty. Bring up 3rd and about 14 yards. That is a tough holding penalty and a big hole for this Griffin offense to come out of. 3rd and very long. We'll see what they go to here. Brown dropping back, looking to his left, pumps once, rolls out, looks for Henry Cowan, trying to dive and make the catch, but they're going to rule it incomplete. Say it hit the ground, and good hustle by Henry Cowan to come back to that ball, but he was well short of the first down regardless.
Yeah, Henry was open on that play. Dean the bad throw was forced by Dean on the move. He struggled early in the season throwing around on the run. That's a little glimpse of that right there.
Back deep for the Bruins. Henry Cowan to punt. for the Gryphons.
Henry Cowan going to punt this one away. A good punt, tight spiral on that one. It's going to be taken by Orr inside the 40-yard line. He's got some space to work. Good blocking by this USJ punt coverage team. Flags flying. I think it's going to be a holding called on number 44, Kyle Clifton. He had Austin Grisham by the jersey there. But good return by Orr, but this flag's going to move him back a few yards. We'll see exactly where the spot will be coming up for USJ's 1st and 10.
Got a flag on the play. Holding against the Bruins.
Right.
Where's the base station?
Resulting stop is at their own 0.7-yard line. Yeah.
Take it on their own side of the 50. First and 10 for USJ. They got in the red zone on their last drive, ended it with a field goal. This pass is going to be out in the flat, completed from Ryan Gardner. Good first down play. And a pass looked like about 13, 14 yards after the catch on that play, Grant. Never want to see that as a defensive coach.
And I think even more significantly is the yards after the first hit right there, which is about 8. And, they need to wrap up. I know Spencer's a big back, but that's some poor tackling right there.
I agree with you there, Grant. This one's going to be taken up the gut. That's Glassman, Adam Glassman. He's going to get a gain of about 1 yard, bring up 2nd and 9. For the most part, there was those 2 plays when when USJ got in the red zone. 2 run plays up the gut, but other than that, St. George has done a good job of stopping the run game, but passing attack so far has hurt them a little bit. 5 out wide. This is the formation on last drive that Gardner really hurt the Gryphons on. So he's gonna hit Orr on the curl route right that time to the left side. Good hands by Orr. Great bullet pass by Gardner, and they've got a great 1-2 punch right now.
Orr's leading them in receiving so far this year. He has a full 665 yards and 7 touchdowns on the season. He's definitely Gardner's favorite target.
And Gardner, 19 touchdowns on the year, 7 of those being to Orr. Really shows you how much he likes to hook up with his leading receiver. On this 3rd and 3, St. George is making some late shifts on the D-line. This ball is going to be complete out there. Number 39 for USJ. That looks like Powers Spencer, but he is down a little bit after the play is. He was hit hard by Clay Crenshaw right on his back. It looked like he just landed on top of him, and that one's going to hurt a little bit. He's limping, but he will stay on the field, and that's going to be a first down for USJ after the spot by the officials. I don't think it was too generous. It looked like he was there. Clock approaches 8 minutes left to go until halftime, and Gryphons really need to get a stop here. Holding them to a field goal will tie it. Garner's going to give this one off to Glassman, brought down by number 58, Darius Brooks. Short gain by Glassman, maybe 1 if anything. And while Spencer's their leading back so far this season, Grant, I don't think we've seen a carry from him all night. It's really been Glassman most of the time, and St. George has done a good job of stopping it, but that's to be expected.
They've utilized Spencer in the receiving game a little bit more. Spencer's actually their second leading receiver.
Glassman dropping back, Gardner dropping back, overthrows his intended receiver right there. 41 Spencer, we were just talking about a minute ago, and those long balls that last season we saw Gardner in the USJ game at USJ hit a receiver down the sideline on a beautiful ball, hit him right in stride, but he's really struggling hitting downfield receivers here tonight. Credit that to a focus on the secondary. Past 2 weeks in practice, if St. George's had 2 weeks to prepare for this one. Gardner with 5 wide receivers on 3rd and 9. Oh, had a diving oar on that play. Tried to complete it for a first down. Tight window there. Threw it really the only place he could. But it's going to be ruled incomplete. And 4th and 9. 6:48 left to play in this first half. And it looks like USJ is going to get the punt team out on the field, although they debated what they were going to do for a second there. But fake is a possibility with the punter. Oh, no, they're going to go for a field goal here.
And fake's always possible. Ryan Gardner is the holder.
And I don't remember him holding earlier, but regardless, they're going to throw a flag here.
Delay game.
Yeah, the clock hit 0 before they could get it off. And that's going to move him back 5 yards. So that clock utilized in only the first game it's in existence here at St. George's, Grant. And that's going to help out St. George's. I have a hard time believing they're going to try and punt this. I mean, they're going to try and put this one through the uprights as well.
And Gardner's going to come off the field, so they're about to punt. Or he's going to stay on.
He's going to stay. He's the punter. But they're going to go for it, looks like. Four out wide for USJ. Big 4th down play here. He drops back, looks for a receiver, scrambles out, and he gets tackled by the ankles by Dylan Young. And St. George is going to take over from their own 36-yard line. Great sack by Dylan Young, getting Gardner on the run. So great defense right there by St. George's, stopping USJ on 4th down. As officials are going to call a quick timeout. Clock never started, and I think that one of the officials picked up on it. They're talking over there. See how much time ran off the clock. I believe one of the officials down there does have the remote for the clock, though. And now the scoreboard is completely malfunctioning. So with these difficulties, we're going to take a short break. You're watching Gryphon football here on the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. We're back here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network as the scoreboard is back and functioning now. 6:41 left to play. Until halftime, Griffins take over with a 1st and 10. And Grant, last time we highlighted Ryan Gardner, he was struggling a little bit. Since that time, he's completed 6 of his last 9 passes for about 50 yards. As that one's complete over the middle to Matt Thompson. Breaks a tackle inside the 50, inside the 45. Brought down at about the 41-yard line. Good pass over the middle right there by Dean Brown to Matt Thompson. And that has been the greatest factor in this successful St. George's offense so far.
Tyler Harden on the tackle.
6:25 until halftime. 1st and 10 St. George's. This one's going to be a little screen pass out there to McCarthy Robinson. He's going to break through, get out for a gain of about 9, closer to 1st down. I think they'll give it to him. And another 1st down pass from Dean Brown there.
Pass complete to McCarthy Robinson.
They're going to give it to him as the clock's going to approach about 6 minutes here.
29-yard line. 1st and 10 St. George's.
Thompson's going to take this one left. Stays on his feet, but brought down for a loss of about 3. So 2 big pass plays, followed by a run play for a loss of about 3. It's really the opposite of how the season's gone for the most part.
Joseph Patterson. Negative 2 yards on the play. 2nd and 12 from the Gryphons.
Brown back with 4 receivers deep. Great pass by Brown over the middle to Austin Grisham. A little low, unable to come up with it. That would have been another 1st down by Dean Brown, but a terrific pass by him right there.
Yeah, he's throwing the ball well. Austin was unable to look it in there. But, Dean's come out pretty good in this first half.
7 for 11, 79 yards so far for Brown. Brown pumps once, gets 2 defenders to bite, and he's out scrambling now. As the defensive linemen were just scrambling for someone to block for Brown, but there was just too many guys there, and he's going to end up being brought down at about the 30-yard line. So let's see what they do here. They're going to try and make this one absolutely makeable for Cowan. We've seen him make field goals like this quite a bit.
And this 45-yard field goal would be a bit of redemption for Henry Cowan, who missed his first PAT of the season earlier in the game.
Absolutely makeable if he gets good foot on it. Looks like he did. Maybe just left. Yep, it's going to be just left. He definitely got enough on that one, but just did not get it far enough right. Tough kick from the left hash. Regardless, though, he got good foot on it, and while you're disappointed you didn't get points on the board, that's really not Henry's fault. As much as a 1st down pass over the middle of the field could have given St. George's, could have put St. George's in the red zone, and we'd be having a whole different conversation. 4:24 until halftime. USJ's got 5 out wide. They're going to throw a screen pass to the left. And USJ's got a lot of room to work. End up being brought down close to the 50 by Austin Grisham. Good tackle there as he was the last line of defense.
All the way out to the Bruin 46-yard line. Wrapped up by number 34, Austin Grisham.
And screen pass right there, Grant. Yards after the catch have been the story in this game for USJ, completing these short intermediate patterns.
Yeah, I mean, on the short passes, they just been, their receivers just been getting behind the shoulder pads and just running as hard as they can, and they're just busting through those arm tackles. And you really have to wrap up against these USJ receivers.
Glassman taking this one up the middle. A little pushing and shoving afterwards, and there is a flag down. I think they're going to get Alec Feinstone for it. Could be offsetting though, but I believe it came in after Alec Feinstone had it. Yep, it is going to be against Feinstone. And that one hurts. That one definitely hurts. Something St. George's did not need in a 3-point game on a 2nd and 10 play. Now it brings up 1st and 10 for USJ, and that's that one is tough to see, Grant. Gardner dropping back here. It's a screen pass out there, and he's got blocking in front of him, but just too many Gryphons around it. It looked like there should have been maybe a block in the back on the play, but there is no flag. Oh, there is a flag deep, and it's going to be a hold. And that'll move USJ back a few yards. That's 10 yards from the spot, and you see the flag, it's near the 50, so it's going to be 2nd and very long for USJ. Excuse me, 1st and long for USJ. So spot of the foul. Have they marked it off yet? Or I don't know if they marked it off yet or not. Because on the screen, the hold came deep. They're going to mark it. They're going to walk it off from about the 45-yard line. So that'll kind of offset the personal foul call there, Grant, and bring up a 1st and about 26 yards, I believe, for USJ. Gardner dropping back. He's looking deep. Got an Orr over the middle. Tremendous pass, and Orr trips over his own feet, but he's going to be close to a 1st down. We'll see where they spot it.
Pass complete to number 19, Austin Orr.
And that's a great strike by Ryan Gardner there, showing off some arm strength. And if Orr could have stayed on his feet,
28-yard line.
he could have made his way to the end zone. But luckily for us, he stumbled.
They are going to give him a 1st down. As good pass by Gardner, complete over the middle, and really no trouble right there for Gardner as he just stepped up in the pocket, delivered a strike over the middle. Pinpoint cannon. It's complete on the little curl route left side. Missed tackles have been the story here. It's going to be just short of the end zone. Mark him down at about the 1-inch yard line. Tried to run over a St. George's defender to get in the end zone there. Was not successful, and USJ is having their way passing the football in these last couple plays.
There's a flag down.
Yeah, you see it back there. Sideline infraction against USJ. And on the inch-yard line, that is the last time you want to get that one. That very well could keep 6 points off the board for St. George's. Is that play right there?
Yeah, they got that warning early in the game. If you can remember, in 2 times and you're penalized, and you can see you could see some USJ coaches running down out of the designated coaching box.
Gardner with 4 out wide. Glassman lined up to his right. He's looking right. Dylan Young in the backfield. Ball's loose! Blake Caruth is going to fall on it. Unbelievable defensive play by Dylan Young, the backbone of this defense in this first half. See the sack on the 4th down play. Stripping the ball loose there. That is unbelievable.
And Dylan comes up big again on a key defensive play. Remember, he had a sack on the 4th down play. And right there coming up with his strip sack.
Great pressure by the defensive front for St. George's. Chandler Loy elusive in the backfield. There's going to be a block in the back or holding call or something back there on what I think was number 65, Kendall Shipp, and looks like Darius Brooks is down on the field. That is going to hurt. Big part of that defensive front. Already losing Shea Adelaide. If he was to come off the field, next in line on that defensive front, number 72, Jacob Still. That would mean that would again mean this would be no change, but 2 of the 4 guys on the defensive front for St. George's playing both sides of the ball.
Yeah, so I mean they were exchanging Jacob in for Davis, and if both of them have to play, there's going to be very little rest for either of them, which couldn't come back to be a key factor in this game.
Next in line would be Spencer Schofield, but he got he was down with something earlier today, a little bit of a stomach bug or something. Hopefully he is okay now. I have not seen him on the sidelines yet, so tough to say who comes in after Still if Schofield is not playing on the completion from Brown to Thompson to the right. May have gotten a yard. He did. Bring up 2nd and 19 now. And Grant, really haven't said much about this since the FACS game where penalties killed him. But right now, 4 penalty yards, 39 yards. Hurting him right now with that personal foul call. And then, interception by USJ. That's going to hurt. USJ inside the 5. USJ gets to the goal line. Touchdown. That one is going to hurt. Pick 6 by USJ.
And that was one of the first bad throws we've seen out of Dean Brown in quite a while. And, it turns into 6 points for USJ.
Intercepted right there by Tyler Harden. Point after is going to be good. That's going to make this one a 10-6 ball game. We're going to take a short break. Coming off the USJ touchdown, you're watching Gryphon football here on the Gryphon Broadcasting.
Real tough.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Gryphon Football on the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. Gryphons trail 10-6, 2:04 left to go in the first half. Important to note, this is the first time the Gryphons have trailed since week 2 against ECS. They're on a 12, Gryphons right now on a 12-game winning streak dating back to last season. Still early in this game, but that's in jeopardy right now. It's going to be a deep kick to Crenshaw. He's going to let it bounce. Oh, he's going to muff it. End up picking it up. Good block by Chandler Loy in front of him. Gets out inside the 20, close to the 25-yard line. Gryphons are going to take over on this 1st and 10 coming off the pick 6. And a team that really doesn't turn over the ball much, Grant, that was a big turnover right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Dean's only thrown 3 interceptions coming up into this game, and there's been a few fumbles here and there from some of our secondary backs. But St. George's has not been plagued by turnovers at all this season, and that one's a big one.
Good scramble right there by Dean Brown. Hit hard, though. Gain of about 3, maybe 4 yards.
Ball spotted at the Griffin 27-yard line. 2nd and 3, St. George's.
So Brown leading the offense back on the field again. 4 out wide. 2nd down. Looking right. A lot of pressure on that pass. Saw some defenders get up there, try and get a hand on it. Hit Robinson in the hands, but hit hard right as he touched it. Good defense by USJ.
Yeah, so Dean tries to fit it in a small window there, and he hits his mark, hitting Robinson in the hands, but that's a tough catch to reel in.
And Grant, after the Dylan Young turnover, saw this sideline going crazy. Chandler Loy on the pitch. Not close enough to the 1st down marker. Bring up 4th and about 3 yards. But Grant, after the Dylan Young strip, USJ turnover, as USJ is going to take a timeout here. We saw that St. George's sideline all fired up. Everybody jumping around. Everyone seemed to be hyped up. And right now, coming off the pick 6, you just look at the demeanor of these players. They really look dead, and you really can't have that if you're trying to have a good drive coming off a pick 6 like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how that one throw by Dean Brown completely changed the momentum in this game, and the excitement in the stands and on the sidelines on St. George's side has just been completely eliminated by that pick 6, and it's all been moved over to the USA side of the field.
4th and 3 here for USJ. 4th and 2 here for USJ. Gryphons are going to punt it away here, even though there's only 1:12 left. They don't want to go into halftime trailing. It's just too risky to go for it in a situation like this. Don't want to give USJ another chance to put points on the board. Looks like it's going to be a rugby-style kick to the left here. It's going to be down by... Oh, can't be spiking that ball right there. That's going to be a flag. Oh, gosh. That hurts. Looks like USJ. Tough to say if USJ touched that ball. Number 53, Bailey Popek, was not happy about the call, though. Slammed the football down. Gives USJ a few more yards. Coach Brent Hill's not happy with Bailey Popek on the sideline over there, but because these penalties are really starting to hurt St. George's, piling up on them.
36 yards on the Henry Cowan punt.
It's tough to say if that touched the USJ returner, but
no, it looked like it when it took that first top. It looked like it skipped up into the shin of that return man, and I think Bailey Popek's completely right, but
regardless,
that penalties puts USJ in St. George's territory with 1 minute left, and when we were hoping it would be a situation where they'd just run out the clock, they were definitely going to try to score right here.
Gardner dropping back. St. George trying to get good pressure. They do get good pressure. Dylan Young again with the sack. Good pressure on the right side by Darius Brooks. He's back out onto the field. And I think there's going to be a timeout called by USJ. Yeah, there is. So off the sack by Dylan Young and the timeout by USJ, we're going to take a short break. 52 seconds left to go until halftime. USJ leads this one 10-6.
Martin Curlin and Brandon.
Welcome back here to Griffin Football on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Griffins lead this one. Griffins trail 10-6. It's been so long since I said that I didn't even remember what I was saying. As USJ is going to catch this one. Left side. Go out for a gain of about, let's call it 5 yards. Bring up 3rd and about 8 here. So USJ's trying to put some points on the board before halftime. It's going to be a flag down. Oh, gosh.
And that's a killer.
Absolutely.
That's going to put USJ just in range of a field goal with 30 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, my goodness.
It looked like Chandler Loy laid a hit after the whistle.
Even before, I thought maybe there would have been an interference called. Yeah, there's going to be an interference call. And then they're going to call another one. Oh, gracious. So no pass interference, but the holding kind of acts as that pass interference call as it was called against the defense. Penalty yards, Grant.
They're going to accept the 15-yard
pass interference.
Late hit call.
I'm assuming, yeah, late hit call. I'm sorry.
As opposed to the 5-yard and first down hold. But with 30 seconds,
15-yard line.
USJ is going to have the ball on the 15-yard line.
79 penalty yards today against St. George's.
30 have been in the last 3 plays.
On 7 penalties in just the first half of play. 28 seconds left to go. I don't know why you run it there. USJ is going to have to burn a timeout.
Yeah, they have 2 left. They're burning their second right here.
They're going to have to.
And something's happened with the clock.
Well, maybe they're going to burn. They're going to burn when they kick a field goal here.
The clock is kind of jumping around right now. It was at 20 seconds. And now it's all the way down to 2.
They're going to burn it with 2 seconds left.
Timeouts. USJ.
Looked like the play clock malfunctioned a little bit there, as it was still winding down even after the play was over, and it didn't restart until after the clock had started going for next play. Timeout taken by USJ. Their last one is they're going to try and kick a field goal. 2 seconds left in the half. Try and take a 13-6 lead. As St. George's defense comes onto the field.
In field goal formation. Ryan Gardner to hold.
This 7-point deficit, if this field goal is made, would be the largest deficit of the season for St. George's. And the only game, barely got it. Barely got it. So that 7-point deficit is the largest the Gryphons have faced all season. And this is the first game since ECS that they have trailed at the half. So at halftime, USJ leads this one 13-6. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a second with your Griffin halftime report. You're watching Griffin football here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gryphons at the half. USJ leads this one 13-6 over St. George's. And right now, it is Gryphons have really just hurt themselves. 7 penalties, 79 yards has really hurt this team so far. As far as total yards go, they're about even. USJ's 176, St. George's 129. St. George's has thrown an interception, though, pick 6. It was really but USJ also has a fumble loss, so turnovers are even in this game. St. George's hurts them a little bit more, being the pick 6. Individual stats, starting with USJ. Ryan Gardner right now, 14 for 27, 183 yards, averaging about 7 yards a pass right now. As far as receiving goes for the Bruins, their leading receiver right now, Power Spencer, 6 receptions, 83 yards. Each one of their receivers right now, it's called a pass, is averaging double-digit yards a reception in the first half. That is going to be killer going forward. As far as the Gryphons go, Dean Brown, 8 for 14 for 80 yards, averaging 6 a reception right now. Leading receiver for Matt Thompson, 7 reception. Leading receiver for St. George's is Matt Thompson, 7 receptions for 69 yards, averaging about 10 a reception. The only other person that's caught a pass for St. George's is McCarthy Robinson. It was an 11-yard reception. As far as rushing goes for St. George's, Chandler Loy, leading rusher right now, barely 9 rushes, 29 yards. Uncharacteristic for him all season, although he does have the lone touchdown for St. George's off the missed extra point by Henry Cowan. We're going to take another short break. We'll be back in a second with Grand Optican halftime analysis. You're watching Gryphon football on the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. Welcome back here to Gryphon Halftime on the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. We're going to go through a few more stats before we go to Grand Optican here. Defensively for St. George's, leading tackler right now is Dylan Young. He's got 6 tackles on 3 sacks. Really been the backbone for this Gryphon defense so far in this game. Coming up with that big forced fumble, ended up being recovered by Blake Caruth. As far as USJ's defense go, Tyler Harden has had his nose in on 10 tackles tonight. Also has a pick 6 in the game. He's been the backbone for this USJ defense so far. Also notably for St. George's, Parker Fawcett has 5 tackles tonight. Alec Finestone has 3, but a big penalty late in the first half cost the Gryphons some yards. Again, we'll be right back after a short break. You're watching Griffin football on the Griffin Broadcasting Network.
You're watching a presentation on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Here now are your hosts, J. Morgan Harder and Grant Optican.
When you're ready.
Welcome back here to the Griffin Halftime Show on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. I'm J. Morgan Harder alongside my partner here, Grant Optican. Grant, let's start with team stats. For both these teams, I went through them for a second. Griffin's defense has looked pretty good thus far, only allowing USJ on 10 rushes for -7 yards, but those passing yards for USJ has been what hurt.
Yeah, Ryan Garner's thrown for 183 yards so far tonight, almost meeting his game average of 193. You know, he spread the wealth, connecting with 5 different receivers. Connecting with Power Spencer 6 times for 83 yards, and a lot of those Jay Morgan's just been on those screens and dump-offs where they get Spencer to the outside, and he's a power back, and our cornerbacks have not been able to tackle very well tonight. But he's done well with his leading receiver, Austin Orr, who's had 4 receptions and 43 yards. But most of those have been big plays over the middle. His longest has been 19 so far tonight.
What has been killer for St. George's, especially really late in that first half, 7 penalties for 79 yards. That'll get you every single time.
Yeah, so down 10-6, St. George's punted the ball away with about a minute left. The ball was down around the 35-40 yard line in USJ territory, and it was pushed 15 yards in USJ's favor off the Bailey Popek unsportsmanlike conduct. And then 2 plays later, Chandler Lloyd gets called for another unsportsmanlike conduct on the late hit and brought him all the way to the 15. And, 20 seconds later, we were down 7 points. So, that last possession was just all mental mistakes. The USJ had no business coming anywhere close to the end zone, and we really helped them out, giving them 30 easy yards.
Surprising for St. George's 9, Grant, though. Dean Brown, while he's been throwing well, other than that pick 6, Chandler Loy really struggling tonight. USJ doing a good job of containing him, and that's really a big reason why they're trailing in this game right now, besides the fact that they're shooting themselves in the foot a little bit.
Yeah, Chandler Loy, a guy who averages over 100 yards a game and just about 8 yards a carry, tonight has only 29 yards on 9 carries, and that's about 3.2 yards a carry. He does have the lone score for the Gryphons, but it has been not an easy night for Chandler Loy. He's been having to deal with a lot of blitz packages out of this USJ defense.
You're absolutely right, Grant. And with that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back to talk a little bit more in just a minute. You're watching Griffin Football here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Griffin Halftime Report here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. I'm Jay Morgan Harder alongside my partner, Grant Optikin. And Grant, let's go through some big plays in that first half, starting with Dean Brown earlier in the game. Completed some good balls over the middle to Matt Thompson. Ended up with a Chandler Lloyd touchdown on that first drive for St. George's.
Yeah, Dean looked sharp starting off in that first quarter, and we were starting off just throwing those screen passes and short slants like we did 2 weeks ago against Tipton, trying to get Dean in the rhythm. He's throwing the ball well for the most part in this first half.
You're absolutely right, Grant. And that next in 2 drives later for USJ, into the first quarter and just the beginning of the second, USJ was knocking on the door, got in the red zone, following a couple big runs and a few big passes by Gardner. Ended up St. George's made a huge stop, keeping them to a field goal, and that had to boost the morality of this St. George's team at the start of the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, USJ and Ryan Gardner was leading a really great drive, and for us to be able to stop them in the red zone was huge. And that it was 6-3 at that point, and momentum was still on our side.
And you look at the sideline right there, Grant, for just 1 second. You see at the bottom of your screen right there, sorry to interrupt, Dylan Young is limping a little bit running down the sideline. I hope it's just a cramp, but coming out of the locker room just like that, it's hard to tell. It's probably just a cramp. He'll probably be okay. But moving on, as far as we go, Henry Cowan missed a long field goal, just left. Really can't blame him for that. Once St. George's had opportunities to get in the red zone, they didn't. But on the next defensive possession, Dylan Young stripped the ball in the red zone after a huge penalty against USJ. They were on the inch-yard line, took them back 10 yards, and Dylan Young was able to get in the backfield.
Yeah, just first of all, touching on Henry, he's had a tough night so far tonight, but we're looking forward to seeing him get back on track. He is the second best kicker in the city right now. But Dylan Young, early in the second quarter, was coming up big, creating a lot of pressure, and he had that big fourth down sack, and later on in the half had that strip sack where USJ was in knocking on the red zone, and he really just ended that drive right then and there.
You see Dylan Young just keying on. He's still down over there on the sideline doing some stretches instructed by the trainers right now. We hope that he's okay. Following that drive off the fumble recovery, got St. George's all fired up, but then a pick six thrown by Dean Brown took it into the end zone, and that really hurt St. George's. They were fired up coming out of that fumble, but that pick six kind of took all their momentum away.
Yeah, Dean didn't make a whole lot of bad mistakes, but that one mistake right there really just took the life out of the St. George's team, and really the crowd too, and all the momentum was transferred over to the other side. The USJ fans were going crazy, and to end the half, USJ had all the momentum.
You're absolutely right, Grant. And they really did have the momentum at the end of that half, finishing it with a big field goal right there. And just the penalties against this St. George's team, it's just absolutely demoralizing. You hate to see that happen. And we've kept it under control as far as penalties go since that FACS game where I believe we had 14 in the game.
Yeah, well, tonight it's 7 for 79. And in one half, that is just absolutely just critical. And it's really an explanation of why St. George has been kind of struggling tonight, especially on that last drive where we give them 30 just free yards on a drive where they shouldn't have really even had a chance to score, but we put them in perfect position for the field goal, and they went up 13-6.
I assume that was touched on in the locker room more than just a little bit, and we'll look for that to be fixed as we come out here in the second half. And I want to touch on one more thing before we go to another break, Grant. Henry Cowan, you talked about earlier, he's had a rough night, but a kicker can go 1 for 5 in a game and still be the hero. And in a game as close as this, only a 7-point game going into halftime, both offenses still looking to prove a lot. I think that's not even it's just about as true in this game as it is any time else.
Yeah, down 7. It's going to come down to it's going to be a game of inches. And we haven't really played that close of a game this year so far, for the exception of the ECS game in Game 2, in Week 2. And if it comes down to a field goal, and we all trust Henry, he can palm him from deep. But it's really going to be telling of where Henry is mentally tonight.
You're right, Grant. And following that, we're going to take one final break. When we come back, second half coverage here in Collierville. Gryphons trail this one. Gryphons trail this one to start the third quarter, 13-6. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to Gryphon football here on the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. Gryphons kicked off to start the game. They'll be receiving to start the second half. They trail 13-6. Start the second half, and they're really looking to play this second half better than they finished that first half, Grant.
Yeah, it was definitely a rough end of the first, and I think it's obvious that the coaches touched on the penalty issue. And really all the momentum shifting away.
This ball's away. Clay Crenshaw breaks one to the outside. Almost broke it away for a big one, but he's going to be stopped at about the 30-yard line. So our Gryphons are going to take over, looking for a lot better offensive possession than they finished that first half on, Grant. And really the first quarter for St. George's was good. It was just late in that second quarter, you saw the wheels start to come off after the pick six. They were demoralized and penalties started to fly everywhere.
Yeah, and right here, to start this half, they don't need to score, but if they can put together a solid drive, momentum will start to shift back up to our side.
Thompson's got to be elusive here with some defenders in front of him. Gets out for a gain of about 5, maybe 6 yards. Great reception by him, getting it in the flat, and he's able to get out there for a big gain. What you see a lot from St. George's, they don't go anywhere but the flat too much, and that's really what USJ is doing too. We talked about it before the game. These teams are not that dissimilar. Brown handed it off to Lloyd. Lloyd's got a huge run, gets it for a first down, and St. George's in full attack mode right now. You see their motor running. That's Lloyd's. I think we can both say, Grant, that's probably Lloyd's best run of the game.
Yeah, Chandler's been kind of bottled up so far tonight. He only had 29 yards in the first half, and he's a 100-yard type of guy.
Lloyd's going to take this one, gets hit in the backfield, uses his strength to get out there for a gain of about 1. But really good stop by USJ's defensive front there, and they've done a good job of stopping him all day. Brown dropping back, sees a receiver left, intercepted again. Intercepted, that's Austin Orr. And USJ is going to take over on the opponent's side of the 50. And it is all Bruins right now.
That kind of looked like a little bit of miscommunication there. There was 2 receivers within about 2 yards of each other, and Dean threw it to just an area, and there was multiple defenders there.
And it's more important now than ever, Grant, to not hang your head, because that's when other teams attack, and USJ is going to attack right there with a completion to the left side. Fawcett drives him out of bounds after a gain of about 8, maybe 9 yards. We'll see where the official spot is. It'll be about 8-yard gain. Bring up 2nd and 2. And Gryphons, other than really early in this game, they have not found an answer to Ryan Gardner's passing attack. Gardner dropping back here, looking to his left. Found an open receiver over there. That was number 30, Eric Arnold. Complete for a gain of about 1 yard. bring up third, and we'll call it 2 again. They're going to try and go quick snap, get some power right here, and they're going to go right up the gut. Hard to see who was carrying that one. I'm assuming it was Spencer, though. Yeah, it was Spencer, and he'll be close. I think they're going to give it to him. The spot is good enough for a first down. And they're trying to quick snap right there, Grant. Catch the Griffin defense off guard.
You know, it was kind of a mix-up. We haven't seen that look from them tonight. One of the first times they've been in really a short-yarded situation.
Ten minutes left to go here in this third quarter. 1st and 10 for USJ. They're on the 36-yard line. Completed by Gardner left, and he is striking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, you know, they run these curls, and, you know, St. George's has to play back because if they run a double move, a receiver has just all the space in the world, and Gardner can easily make that throw.
Nothing they can answer to that. I mean, you're absolutely right. If that double move will kill them. Gardner reads defenses audible to those screens sometimes. Reads them well. See 5 out wide for him now. Complete out there in the flat to the left. That's 39. I believe that's Spencer. Out for a good gain. It'll be 3rd and about 1 here for USJ. It looks like they're bringing in some power guys, so maybe they'll quick snap it again. But Gryphons are ready right here. Yep, they're going to try and quick snap it, but Gryphons are ready. Look at this bunch right here. This is going to be power against power. Spencer jumps over the line. That'll be another first down for USJ, and it's got to be frustrating for this Griffin defense, especially this defensive front, getting in the backfield all day, and right now there's really no answer for this passing attack.
You know, I mean, we touched on it before the game. This Griffin defense is suited to stop the run, and against such a proficient pass offense, I mean, we were expecting Ryan Gardner to have a good game, but we weren't expecting anything like this.
1st and 10, USJ. Low throw right there by Gardner, completed nonetheless. Gain of about 4 or 5 yards to the left. One of the few throws tonight by Gardner, few short throws I should say, that haven't been right on line, as the USJ receiver kind of had to go down to get that one. 2nd and 6 now for USJ. And they're knocking on the door to the red zone here. On this 2nd down. Gardner dropping back, looking to his right. He's got a receiver open. That's Spencer again. He is picking apart this Griffin defense right now. They really just don't have an answer, and USJ gets into the red zone again.
You know, they run the same play over and over again. It's either that curl or the throw to the flats to Spencer. And St. George's hadn't found an answer.
3rd and 1 now. They put, getting that bunch set again, power against power again. This is going to Spencer, and you see Gryphons jumping over the line there trying to get in the backfield. That's dangerous. Not only for yourself, but also you miss that guy on a fake. He bounces outside. That's a huge gain.
And it's going to be about 4th and 1, and USJ is once again in great field goal position.
They'll probably just, they'll absolutely kick this field goal away here. No reason to keep St. George's in a one-possession game. But stranger things have happened, Grant. But I assuming they'll just kick this one, try and get 3. They will. Close to being left, but it sneaks through the upright there. And that's going to be a 16-6 game. USJ takes a 10-point lead
3 on the board.
That is puts St. George's in an even bigger hole coming out here. So with 6:42 left to go in the third quarter, we're going to take another short break. Gryphons trail by 10, 16-6. You're watching Gryphon football here on the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. Gryphons trail 16-6 here as they're going to get this one on the return. It's going to be Thompson getting it out there to about the 30-yard line. I'm Jay Morgan Harder alongside my partner Grant Optikin, and Gryphons are struggling right now, Grant.
No, this is the largest deficit this season at 10 points.
If I'm not wrong, this is the largest deficit since the last time they faced USJ in the state championship game.
13 games ago, Jay Morgan, and this is an important drive right here. St. George's has almost no momentum right now, and Dean Brown needs to build some confidence.
Run up the gut by Chandler Loy there, going for about a yard. Bring up second and about 9 here. Excuse me, second and about 8 here. 6:16 left to go in this third quarter. Loy's going to take it again. He's going right. He's got some space to work. Get out there for a first down. Runs out of bounds. The USJ sidelines, and they're going to mark him just short of the first down, but
nonetheless, Chandler Loy is starting to find some space.
That is a spot. I was not expecting a spot that far back, but that's where it is. 3 yards to first down. Chandler Loy's going to get it. Power running by Chandler Loy right now. He does. He does not want to go down with the game he's had right now. He wants to will this St. George's team to victory, and being a big part of the offense and defense for this Gryphon team, he's going to play a big role here. Loy's going to get this one again. He's got a huge gain. Gets out there for a first down and more. Inside the 50-yard line. Great run by Chandler Loy, his best of the night.
And once again, Chandler Loy, those holes are starting to open up, and he's been waiting all night to hit one hard. And St. George is starting to build some momentum.
And Chandler Loy running with a purpose right now. I said it just a second ago. He's not going down without a fight. 16-6 game, 5:47 left to go in the third quarter. Loy's going to get this one again, slip up behind the line of scrimmage. They're going to call him down way before the line of scrimmage, but his knee did not hit the ground.
Loy tackle by number 37, Tyler Hart.
It's going to bring up second and 11. I thought he got back to the line of scrimmage, but they're going to mark him down short.
3-yard loss, second 13 for the Gryphons.
Loy's going to take this one up the gut again. He's got a huge run, getting about 7 yards there. Grant, you'll notice Gryphons have had another down lineman over there. And you see number 87, Blake Caruth, trying to create some holes for Chandler Loy. He's going to come out for a second, and Dylan Young's going to come in to place him back. A big body, tough guy to bring down. First time we've seen him in offense tonight.
Yeah, in that first half, we were running those 4 wide sets with only 5 down linemen, but we're adding that tight end, Blake Caruth, and it's done well so far.
Dylan Young gets tackled in the backfield as the third high snap in a row to Dean Brown, and running backs aren't getting the same momentum that they'd like to start with, and they're going to have to punt this one away. So a good drive by St. George's. It's going to have to end in a punt. And that's a little bit disappointing if you ask me, Grant.
Yeah, but looking on the bright side, St. George's starting to move the ball a little bit more. Chandler Loy's breaking free. And, you know, if Henry can pin this one deep, St. George's gets in good position.
Another low snap and snapping for the Gryphons. Long snapping and in the shotgun has been a huge struggle right now, and that just cannot happen. 3:52 left to go here in this third quarter as USJ is going to take over at the 20-yard line as Henry Cowan's punt goes into the end zone. But you really can't blame him for that. I mean, he had almost no time to get the punt off.
You know, the past couple weeks we've seen some struggles, and really there's been some glimpses all season with the long snapping. You know, we remember in the ECS game, Henry, ball goes over his head and he makes a miraculous play that basically won us the game. And, you know, Henry hadn't really had a great snap all game with these punts.
Garner's going to take this one left. Brought down in the backfield. Good tackle by Blake Caruth right there. That's going to bring up second down and about 12 yards. So good first play for St. George's there. Excuse me, they're going to call it 2nd and 13 here. And a good first play for St. George's after they had to punt it away. Gardner with 4 out wide. Dropping back, looking to his left. He's got a guy over the middle. Thrown behind him and a double coverage right there. And you see on your screen right there, just look at the morale of this St. George's team right now. Trying to get something going, but these big offensive linemen you see down there, you got Bailey Popek, Kendall Shipp, Jacob Still just walked away. But the morale of this team right now is not where you want it to be if you're going to make a run at this lead.
And if they can cause the 3 and out right here,
maybe see a little momentum.
Get the ball in some good field position, and let's see if we can work our way to get some points.
3 guys deep here. Gardner on the screen pass. Hits his man. Good blocking in front of him. Great tackle right there. Matt Thompson made first contact. Being brought down from behind by number 66, Davis Lenore. Made a great pursuit at the football there. And that's going to bring a 3. That's going to be a 3 and out for USJ. Good defense by the St. George's team. That might just be what they needed to get a little bit of fire going into this next offensive drive.
You know, St. George has a good chance at starting this possession in their own in USJ territory. And that would be huge.
Looking at the clock right now, though, 2:38. It's only going to get time just dwindling down on them. Rather make a run earlier than late as Matt Thompson's going to call a fair catch. He's going to muff it, though, falls on it. Thank goodness it's there and take over inside the 40. And we're going to take a short break with 2:23 left to go here in this third quarter. You're watching Griffin football on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Griffin Broadcasting Network. St. George's trails by 10, 16-6. I'm Jay Morgan Harder alongside my partner Grant Optikin as Chandler Lloyd's going to take this one on the run, trying to go up the gut. Gets out for a gain of about 1, maybe 2 yards, bring up 2nd and 8. And he had a good drive running the football last time for St. George's, and coming off a big 3 and out, they really want to push here by the offense.
You know, I know Dean Brown struggled tonight, but he's going to have to pick it up going in late in this game.
Lloyd's going to get it again. Good run for him. Seeing the field well right now, as those holes have been hard to come by for him tonight, but when he sees one, he's not letting it go to waste right now. You saw him moving around there. Not just north and south, but he's looking for some place to run right now. Lloyd's going to get it again. Keep moving his feet. Great run by Chandler Lloyd. That's going to be close to a first down. And judging by where the official is right now, I think they'll give it to him. That's going to be close, though. They're going to bring the chains out, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get it. regardless here, Grant, those last few runs by Chandler Loy, he's been running with a purpose right now, keeps those feet moving, even though when he gets hit at about the line of scrimmage.
You know, Chandler's, like we've been talking about, a power back. He keeps his feet churning, and he's going to pick up those extra yards as they measure here. And, you know, he's starting to break free as St. George picks up the first down. That's a big first down moving into the end of this third quarter. But if St. George's can move the ball deep into USJ territory before this quarter ends, down 2 possessions with 1 quarter left, they are going to put themselves in a good position to come back.
1:18 in the third here. They did give St. George's the first down. Loy in the offset shotgun formation. Brown looking to his left, trying to find somewhere to go, scrambling out there. Going to get a loss of about 3, maybe 4 yards. And I don't know if that was the design draw play or what, but looked as if Brown had some confusion on that play.
It looked like they were running around a screen, but Dean just wasn't comfortable with making that pass. I think he felt like he'd get broken up.
2nd and 12 now for St. George's. 1:04 left to play. Loy's going to get this one, go up the gut. Look at that power running right now by Chandler Loy. Doing everything he can to keep his team in this football game. 3rd and 8 for St. George's. Brown in the shotgun. Looking back, looking downfield. He's got Austin Grisham wide open in the middle of the field. That's going to be a first down and more. Grisham running left, breaking tackles inside the 30-yard line. Ball pops free, but he was down. He was down, and Gryphons are going to have a big first down. Wide open receiver in the middle of the field was Austin Grisham.
And Dean coming up big there. Probably the best throw he's had all night, and really one of the more important throws he had all night. That was a big third down play, and Dean did well.
Clock inside the 30-second marker. Loy's going to get this one, go up the gut. Nice run by Chandler Loy. As this clock's probably going to go out to 0 here.
10 seconds left. It'd be great if St. George could pick up another play.
I don't think they're going to. They're going to let They're going to let it go out. So at the end of 3, the Gryphons are still down by 10, but they're knocking on the door right now inside the 30. We're going to take a short break. Gryphons trail by 10. You're watching Gryphon football here on the Gryphon broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gryphon Broadcasting Network. We're about to start the 4th quarter. Gryphons knocking on the door. Down 10 here in this second half. 2nd and 6 for St. George's. As they're going to get Thompson out there to the left. Flag on the field as he gets about to the 20-yard line, and Thompson's down now too. His helmet came off.
And there's a flag on the field, most likely a hold.
That'll drive him back a few yards. And high school rules, Grant, helmet flies off. You're headed to the sideline. That is going to be a holding against the Gryphons.
Holding assessment
Their 8th penalty of the game, their first of this second half. Costly nonetheless, as it brings up second and about 15. Oh, second and more than 15, much more than 15. And about 19 yards here. Run by Loy. Cuts it out to the left. He's got some space. Gets about to the original line of scrimmage. He's still on his feet. Gets inside the 20-yard line. Taken down at about the 19. A tremendous run by Chandler Loy. And they are relying on him 100% right now in the second half, Grant.
You know, it was a huge play right there. 3rd and about 17. Picking up a good chunk of it. And it's going to bring up a very manageable 3rd down as Matt Thompson checks back into the game for Parker Fawcett.
3rd and 4, St. George's.
USJ defense been tremendous tonight, highlighting Tyler Harden for the Bruins. 15 tackles and a pick 6. He's been the backbone of this USJ defense tonight. Maybe could have gotten Loy with a false start there. Handoff's going to go to Thompson, and they're not going to get the first down. They'll be lucky if they get back to the line of scrimmage there. It's going to bring up 4th down. And you got to take points.
And this is going to be a very big kick coming up from Henry Cowan. He missed his initial PAT, and he missed his first field goal of the night, both wide left.
In a situation like this, Grant, you got to do 3 things: kick, pray, and rely on your defense.
And Henry's definitely capable. It's kind of a fluke that he missed his first 2.
This one's up. It's blocked. It's blocked by USJ. St. George's gets on it. They're moving forward. They're going to blow the whistle, and they're going to be short of the marker, and a flag's going to go down, most likely against St. George's. That hurts. First down, USJ. And it looked like maybe a little bit of a low kick by Henry Cowan. Nonetheless, USJ got through that line. His personal foul is going to go against St. George's, pushing and shoving after the play. 9th penalty of the game. And while Henry Cowan did kick that one a little low, that was just a great push by the USJ front, getting a hand on that football. And 10:41 left to go. Gryphons still trail by 10. Garner, 212 passing yards right now. And he's going to have more after this play. As runs complete to the right side. Gain of about 6 on the screen pass to Spencer. 2nd and 4 coming up now, and USJ with these little dump-offs, they know Garner can complete them, and that's working clock just like a run would.
In this defensive this offensive possession for USJ, the St. George's defense needs to come up with a quick stop. There's 10 minutes left in the game, and we're down by 2 possessions. They need a stop here.
USJ dropping back. They scramble with Gardner. He's going right up the gut, gets a first down, and he's going to be brought down, and there's going to be a flag down. I think it's a holding call against USJ, excuse me.
And that kind of saved St. George's right there, where they were giving up a first down to Ryan Gardner on the QB draw. Puts him in a 2nd and about 12 situation.
So 2nd and 12 now. So clock keeps running. 9:50 left to play in this one. Gryphons need a stop and a score quick. Completed out to the right. That's Spencer. Brought down by number 34, Austin Grisham, and number 32, Clay Crenshaw. That's a big play. and brings up 3rd and about 14 yards for USJ. This would be a huge stop.
2-yard loss.
Although the clock is at 9 minutes right now.
In the reverse, Jay Morgan, if USJ manages to convert, that'd be debilitating to this defense and really the entire team. And no, they're down on themselves right now. A conversion on 3rd and 15 would just about end it.
St. George is in their nickel formation. Garner looking downfield, got a man open, intercepted. Oh, almost intercepted by Henry Cowan. That would have given them incredible field position because he had a lot of room to work and a lot of blockers in front of him. Although 8:49 left to play, USJ will punt it away, and so far now on punt returns, St. George's has not had one yet.
But, Jim Morgan, just as important as breaking up that pass, the clock stops.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Incomplete pass, and that's something St. George really needed right there.
St. George is coming. Davis Lenore almost got a hand on a high kick. Matt Thompson will have to call a fair catch. He'll catch it at the 30-yard line, bobbled it a little bit as he felt the footsteps coming for him. And that's where St. George will take over 1st and 10, 8:41 left to play. Huge possession here for St. George's. And if Dean Brown has a time to redeem himself, right now is that time.
He had a great pass in the last possession to Austin Grisham, which on a 3rd and long. And, that's the type of play we need out of Dean.
Pitch to Thompson to the left side. He's got some space to work, although we don't think he got back to the line of scrimmage. He tried to cut it upfield.
And St. George's needs to start working a little bit faster. 8 minutes and 30 seconds left, down 2 scores. They really need to they really need to score within the next 3 minutes.
I agree, Grant. 8:15. Doing some late movement over there, and it's working clock. Too much confusion on offense right now. Brown felt the pressure, got Austin Grisham downfield, got it! Inside the 40, inside the 30, cuts it back inside the 20. He's going middle of the field, cuts it again. Inside the 10, inside the 5, touchdown Gryphons! Touchdown Gryphons! Pass completed by Dean Brown on the blown screen pass downfield to Austin Grisham. Unbelievable play as Grisham had a bunch of yards after the catch to work that one into the end zone, and Gryphons have just made this a ball game.
Dean Brown, a perfectly placed ball, and he got it to Austin Grisham. He did the rest. 2 great cutbacks and just powered his way to the end zone. And right then, just like that, Jim Morgan, we have a 1-possession ball game, a field goal difference pending this extra point with 7 minutes and 40 seconds left in this ball game.
Henry Cowan needs a good kick here. He's got it. That one is good. It's a 3-point ball game. Excuse me. It's a 3-point ball game with 46 seconds left to play. 7:46 left to play. We're going to take a short break. Gryphons have cut it to 3 here. You're watching Griffin football on the Griffin broadcast. Welcome back here to the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Gryphons cut it to 3 points with 7:46 left to play in the game. And when a lot of things are going wrong for St. George's right now, Grant, that was one thing that went right.
Yeah, a great play right there, getting the ball to Austin Grisham with a lot of space in front of him, and Austin just powered his way to the end zone. That could end up being one of the bigger plays of the season if St. George's can complete a comeback.
And the Gryphons need another big stop on defense here, and they've got plenty of time. Low kick right there by Henry Cowan, and that one's going to be taken at about the goal line by USJ. Great kick coverage right there on the tackle for St. George's. That's number 31, Joseph Richey. Good tackle right there, and there's a player down for USJ, but they're going to have tough field position at their own 15-yard line as this Griffin defense is coming onto the field more inspired than they have been all day.
And I do want to mention that on that touchdown play to Austin Grisham, Davis Lenore and Matt Thompson came up a little limp. They seem to be all right now, but that is something to look at.
With a Bruin player down, we're going to take another short break. You're watching Griffin football here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Welcome back here. Number 19, Austin Orr, was injured on that play.
Orr is their leading receiver for the year.
He walks off the field right there. And we'll see if USJ can respond to the injury right there. Backed up deep in their own territory at their own 15-yard line following the great kick coverage by number 31, Joseph Richey. Garner dropping back, looking on the screen pass. As he had good blocking in front of him, broke a tackle by number 58, Darius Brooks, and that's good for a gain of about 8 yards. And that's whenever St. George's gets some momentum, Grant, it's really that play right there that's been getting them, and that's a short little dump-off screen pass.
Yeah, that's been their first play of the last 3 drives, and it's been the same result. But St. George's has been able to come up big in the next 2 plays and see if they can do it again. 2nd
and 2 for USJ. This Griffin team is still fired up. Garner dropping back, looking left. He's got a dump off. Oh, covered well by Blake Caruth, but Garner sees it and scrambles. Chandler Lloyd wanted to lay a lick on him, but he does the smart thing and slides after the first down play.
And Chandler has to be careful about that right there. If he were to hit Gardner, that would have been a personal foul.
Protecting the quarterback right there. You keep slide like that. Leave yourself susceptible to the hit, but defense will get flagged if they do. 6:35. USJ gets the first down, and the Gryphons need a big stop here. As they're, it look like they're an official timeout. Some stoppage in play right now. As Gardner is, Gardner's calling his team back. As there's an official timeout. There's something going on the sideline over there. I don't know if a player's hurt or what's going on, but all the officials are huddled over there on the sideline. And with that, we're going to take another break. You're watching Griffin football on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. back here on the Griffin Broadcasting Network. Got everything straightened out over there on the sideline. 1st and 10 for USJ. Gardner's got 3 out wide here. 6:25 left to play. Letting this play clock run down as far as they can. Run right there by Spencer. Great stop by the defense up front by St. George's. He's going to be brought down for a loss.
That brings up a 2nd and long. And in this game with 6 minutes left, St. George's, if they can stop USJ in this series, will have more than enough time to make a drive.
And Grant, in a game that's been a lot of passing by USJ, don't forget what's gotten St. George's this far. It's that front 7. That's a great play by some talented players right there. Garner dropping back here on 2nd and 12. Another screen. St. George's reads it well, though. Henry Cowan, he breaks the tackle from Henry Cowan. Could have gotten it in the backfield. That's going to bring up 3rd and about 5. St. George's read that screen better than they have any screen all night.